Mary, I was just wondering if you weren't back yet from going to pick up Laurel. I heard on the TV today that it's supposed to rain soon, and I really need you to bring in all the laundry hanging outside. Do you have any idea when you're going to be getting back home?
Oh, Carrie, it's lovely to hear from you. I'm sorry, but I had to stop at the bank and I completely forgot to bring the laundry before I left. I'll bring it in as soon as I get home though, alright?
I know you will. But that's why I'm asking what time you're going to be home by. And just where are you right now?
I'm actually just picking up Laurel from her preschool right now. Then we have to stop by the grocery store to pick up something for dinner. So, if I had to guess, it would probably be about another hour and a half or so.
You're not going to be here until 3:30? But it's practically going to be dark by then. You need to hurry up and get home as fast as you can, Mary. The laundry is not going to take care of itself.
Right, yeah, sorry about that, Carrie.
By the way, you're done with your period for the month, aren't you?
Yes. It finished just the other day, if you really must know.
Good, then you don't have any excuse to be lazing around the house anymore and complaining so much. Anyways, I guess that means that I can count on you giving me a second grandchild in the next year, yes?
Carrie, we've talked about this before, remember? I'm going to be the one that will carry my second child, so please, just let me worry about the timing of when to get pregnant, okay?
But Laurel is already 4 years old. You really do need to get on having a second child as soon as possible. Unless this is your way of trying to keep kicking the can down the line so that you don't give me a second grandchild.
That's not what's going on at all. All I'm asking is for me to have time to worry about that when I'm ready for it, okay?
It's not a matter of waiting until you feel like it. That could take forever. The second you even think that you might be ready for it, it's the time to dive in. I mean, you don't want a huge age gap between your kids, do you? How are they supposed to get along if they're at completely different stages of their youth? You really need to think more carefully about these things. And you really need to think about having a second child soon, since Laurel is just a girl.
Sorry, what is the problem you have with Laurel being a girl, Carrie?
You mean you really can't figure it out for yourself? What is my family supposed to do if the youngest heir is a girl? We need a boy to pass down my family name and take over all our affairs as everyone gets older. You really think I would trust any of that to a girl? Don't be absurd.
Okay, I guess I can understand where you're coming from with that. But you do realize that even if I do get pregnant with a second child, there is no way to guarantee whether it'll be a boy or a girl, right?
And that's why I'm telling you that you need to start getting pregnant now. You have to start early so that you can keep trying again and again until you finally give me a grandson.
I'm not going to keep having kids until I have a boy just to make you happy, Carrie.
Now you listen to me, young lady. A woman who can't give her husband or mother-in-law a boy is basically useless. Honestly, I'm surprised that you haven't been divorced for not wanting to get pregnant again. Back in my day, men were leaving their women all the time because they couldn't give them the sons they wanted. So I would appreciate it if you could swallow your pride and give your husband and his family what they want.
Well, maybe that was how things went back then, but the times have changed a lot. And if you must know, Daniel and I are very happy with our little Laurel.
You really must have some nerve talking to your own mother-in-law like that. Someone really ought to teach you some respect. Anyways, just hurry up and get pregnant already. That really should be the least that you can do for your family. Don't go patting yourself on the back just because you shut out some useless girl. I want a grandson, and I want one now, understand?
Hello, Carrie. I was just wondering where you are right now.
I'm grabbing a little coffee by the City Met station, if you must know. Then after this, I was going to the movies to see something with a friend of mine.
Right, but Laurel is crying a lot right now.
And what makes you think that that's my problem, huh?
Well, she's telling me that you were saying some horrible things to her and being mean. Did you say something to her while I was busy cleaning the house today?
Oh, I don't know. I was so busy getting ready to start my day, I don't remember every little word I said to her.
You mean that? You really have no idea if you might have said something to upset her.
Of course not. Laurel is just a big crybaby. She would cry even if I looked at her funny. And you're being a bad mother by encouraging this kind of behavior. You really need to set your daughter straight and tell her to grow up.
Carrie, I'm not sure what it was that you said to Laurel, but I'm asking you to please not do that again.
And just what makes you think that I even did anything, huh? Because your little girl said I did? Does Laurel have any proof or any kind of evidence that she's telling the truth? How can you just take a child's word over mine?
Because I really don't think that she's a crybaby who would burst into tears for no reason. And I think that you might have said something to her or been needlessly strict with her, and now she's acting like this. And even before this, I saw when you were playing with Laurel not that long ago. You took her toys from her and threw it across the yard.
Oh, please. It was not like that at all. I just happened to get it caught on my foot and it just went flying. I can't believe that you and your daughter are so willing to attack me like this. I didn't even do anything and yet I'm being treated like I'm some sort of villain. It's outrageous.
Carrie, I know very much how you feel about only having a granddaughter, but the fact is that Laurel is your granddaughter, okay? Not only that, but she's only 4 years old. Can you please just be a little nice to her?
If you're looking for someone to blame, why don't you try starting with yourself, huh? You gave birth to a daughter, so all of this is your fault anyways. You've always been useless, and you always will be. I wish you would have given me a grandson and not a granddaughter.
So you're telling me that the only reason you're treating Laurel this way is because she's a girl? You really think that you would treat your grandson differently if you had one? I'm sorry, but if that's really the case, I think we might have to rethink living with you.
What did you just say? I can't believe that you would try and threaten me like that. What's the matter with you?
I'm not making a threat, Carrie, but I am saying that I'll have to talk with my husband about how you've been treating our daughter. If you're refusing to even listen to what I have to ask of you in terms of Laurel, then that's on you.
How dare you try and turn my own son against me? It's bad enough having to deal with you and Laurel. This is why I wish that you had a son. Men are so much easier to deal with than women. Can't you just hurry up and get pregnant so I can meet my grandson already?
So you really just hate women in general? Even though you're a woman?
And do you have some kind of problem with that? Just what is wrong with me wanting to have a grandson, huh?
I just mean that I think you would really hurt Laurel's feelings if she knew that the reason you didn't like her was something out of her control. So I'll ask you again to please be nicer to my daughter, or I'll have to talk to Daniel about this.
Mary, come now. When are you going to see that you're making a big mistake here? I mean, this is all your fault because you're the one who hasn't had a son yet. I understand that you're frustrated, but it's no reason to try and take it out on me.
That is not why I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because you literally said that you don't like your grandchild because she's a girl. I don't see how you having that issue is a problem for anyone else but you. Not only that, but Daniel and I are more than happy with our daughter, okay?
You can tell that to yourself all you want, but I know the truth that you aren't really happy with her. Not only that, but as your mother-in-law, I know that you're being a bad wife right now. If you're not going to give our family a son who can carry on our name, then you're not doing the one job that you have, and I don't see any reason for you to stay in our family.
I am very respectful of your family, Carrie. If it wasn't for all your family's ancestors before you, then I would have never met and married Daniel. But what you were asking for is different. You're asking for a boy to carry down your family name when our daughter can just keep her family name if she wants.
I see that you really just don't get how this works, do you? Maybe I'm just wasting my time trying to get through to you.
I think that on that we can agree. I don't want to be fighting with you either, and especially not about something like this. So I know that it might be a lot to ask, but can you please just take mine and Laurel's feelings a bit more into consideration?
I can do that, but it doesn't seem fair if you don't do the same for me. You're basically asking for me to just fold over and do whatever you say while you don't even care what I have to say in return. And now I'm starting to get mad again. And all because you're trying to make me the bad guy for wanting a grandson.
I don't see why this is worth getting so upset about. If and when Daniel and I want a second kid, we will have one. If it's a son, then great, we'll be happy. If it's a daughter, we'll also be just as happy. I think it's unfair for you to try and impose your wants on our relationship, though.
I am through with you. It's obvious that there's no point in continuing this conversation if you're just going to be so stubborn. But know that I am not going to let you get away with disobeying me so easily. You won't get away with this, Mary.
Hey there, Carrie. I was just wondering where you are right now.
I'm at a friend's house, if you must know. I know that you're sick, which means that I knew I wouldn't be able to count on you for lunch. So I messaged a friend and asked if I could come over to their house and eat with them.
I see. But do you know where Laurel is? I can't seem to find her anywhere. I was just wondering if you didn't take her to your friend's house while I was in bed sick.
No, I didn't take her with me. What would even make you think that? In fact, now that you mention it, I think she just ran off all by herself. I guess she finally understood that nobody wanted her anymore and she left all on her own.
What do you mean she left? Like she ran away from home or something?
That's right, she just ran off. Hopefully never to come back.
Carrie, what is the matter with you? This is a 4-year-old girl that we're talking about here. What if something happens to her?
Don't tell me that you're really going to try and blame me for this too, are you? It's not my fault that your daughter chose to run off by herself. And you were the one in bed and not watching her.
Can you please just tell me which way she went? Did she say if she was going anywhere?
Just what makes you think that I would know any of that, Mary?
Carrie, you tell me where my daughter is right this second. I am serious.
If you were really worried, you wouldn't be wasting your time messaging me. Why don't you go to the police and report your missing daughter? I'm sure it would be faster and more productive than this. Although I don't really care whether or not you find her anyway. Mary, just what do you think you're doing, huh? Are you really going to try and move out of here? Why is Daniel packing up his stuff right now? Tell him to stop right now. You can't do this to me.
What are you talking about, Carrie? Of course we can and we will. You put Laurel in serious danger. We refuse to live under the same roof as you anymore.
But I told you that Laurel was the one that ran off all by herself. I didn't even do anything. Why are you always blaming me for all of your problems?
I heard it all from Laurel herself, Carrie. She told me that you told her that nobody loved her or wanted her, and that she should just leave. How could you say that to a child? I seriously can't believe that you would do something like that. It's just so horrible.
She told you I said that? Well, does she have any proof that I did?
She doesn't need any kind of proof because both of her parents believe her.
You mean that you're really going to take the word of a 4-year-old over your own mother-in-law? Have you both lost your minds?
Even if Laurel was lying about this, there is plenty of past incidents with you to back up what she's saying. And besides, you're still responsible for not even trying to stop her from running away.
I am telling you that this isn't my fault. You can't just blame me like this. You're really going to pin this on me because your daughter snuck away? What about you? You really think that having a fever and staying in bed isn't just an excuse either?
I accept responsibility for not keeping a better eye on her while I was sick. But I also know that Laurel isn't tall enough to unlock all the locks on the door to our house. Especially the chain at the very top, which had no reason to be undone. So all that means is that someone must have undone it for her before she left.
And you're saying that's me? You can't just accuse people of something that you have no proof for. Besides, maybe I was already gone by the time she ran away. It isn't like you even asked me to look after her for you anyways. I don't see how this is anyone's fault but yours and Laurel's. So quit trying to put the blame on me because I'm sick of it.
Oh, trust me, the feeling is mutual.
And what is that supposed to mean?
It means that I am sick of you and I never want you near my family again. Even Daniel says that he doesn't want to see you anymore. So consider this our way of cutting you out of our lives forever.
Fine, be that way. See if I care. I don't need you or Laurel in my life.
You realize this includes Daniel, don't you? That's why he's packing up his things too?
But he told me that he's just going to be living somewhere else. Although now that I think about it, he's ignored me ever since he told me that and went upstairs to start packing.
He texted me and said that he just doesn't have the strength to respond to you after what you did. That's why he's not talking to you right now.
Tell me, Mary, is this fun for you? Tearing apart families like this when you don't even have any proof of what you're talking about?
If you really think that's what's going on here, then there's no point in having this conversation. I wish that you would just come forward and be mature about this.
You realize that if you move out of my house that you'll have to start paying rent for where you live, right? I know that you already give me a little money each month, but rent is going to be much more expensive.
We've talked about that and we've agreed that it'll still be worth it. Besides, you were the one who asked us to move in with you in the first place. You said that the house was too big for one person and that you were lonely.
I guess I did say that, didn't I?
That's right. And you said that it would be perfect because you could just take care of me while I was pregnant. But obviously all of that changed once I had Laurel. After that, I don't think you ever had a kind word to say to my daughter or I. In fact, you have no idea just how patient I've been with you throughout all of this.
But I told you that if you moved in, that I would want you to give me a grandson, remember? I wasn't being mean, you just didn't hold up your end of the deal.
You have literally had children before. Do you think that you can just decide what your baby comes out as? And do you really think that's an excuse to treat Laurel how you did? You made her cry, and then you chased your only grandchild out of the house because you told her that nobody loved her. If you think that there is any way to come back from that, you are just delusional.
Please, can't we just calm down and talk about this? I mean, she was safe in the end, right?
Don't you dare tell me to calm down after what you did to my daughter. What if she was in an accident, or got kidnapped, or got hurt somehow? Except for the fact that she did get hurt by you.
Okay, geez, I can apologize to her if that'll settle this whole thing between us. Then we can just put this all behind us, right? Is that what you want?
You really think that this is all just going to go away? I don't want you anywhere near my daughter ever again.
But she's my granddaughter. You can't just keep her away from me like that.
Actually, I can and I will. You should stop thinking of yourself as her grandmother because as far as Daniel and I are concerned, you're nothing to any of us.
But I said that I'll apologize. Shouldn't that be enough? What can I do to make you forgive me?
Nothing. I am never going to forgive you, and that's why we're moving out. The only regret I have is that we didn't do this sooner.
But how are you going to find a place to live on such short notice? You can't just move out in a day. Nobody can do that. Please, you don't have to do this.
Thankfully, you don't have to worry about that. That's for Daniel and I to figure out. I don't see any reason why I need to explain anything more to you.
I'm so sorry. I didn't want things to go this way.
It's way too late to try and apologize for what you've done now.
Surely there must be something I can do to set this right, though, right?
No, you've already done enough, thank you very much. If you really want to do good by us and by Laurel, you can leave us alone and never talk to us again. After that, the moving company that we hired arrived and helped us quickly pack and take all of our belongings. It did cost us quite a bit of money, but it was all worth it to get out of living with Carrie. Meanwhile, Carrie tried crying and begging to her son to stay. Daniel had kept quiet that whole time, but his mom's crocodile tears set him off and he really started laying into her. He went off about how he could never forgive Carrie for putting his daughter in harm's way. I heard from some old connections in the neighborhood that ever since we left, Carrie has been a depressed mess and hardly ever leaves the house. But after what she put me and my daughter through, it's difficult for me to have any pity for her. Instead, I'm going to focus on Laurel and make sure that she knows that she is loved and will always be enough.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.